Tonight, rural residents figuratively raising red flags with Canada Post. And it's the literal one that's the issue.
It seems a little bit odd that Canada Post is struggling to survive and wanting large raises and gain more of the market share, but they're going to offer less service.
More on the message delivered and why rural dwellers are sending one back. OPP driving home a message.
Their odds are not in their favor anymore, especially with the ALPR cameras.
No car insurance is a trend that's not only troubling. Police say they're getting very serious about pumping the brakes on the practice. Plus, it might be cool in the skateboarding world, but the do-it-yourself skateboard park is unsanctioned.
How do we make it work?
And the community is working hard to slide into a category of being legit. Good evening. Patricia is away this week. We begin with a move upsetting some Canada Post customers in rural communities. We've become aware of some residents here in Ontario that have been told the flag on their mailbox will no longer be raised by carriers, even though it's a practice that has been in place for decades. CTV's Katie Griffin is here with more on that. Katie.
Well, Stefan, you've got mail, but if you're in a rural area, the only way you'll know about it is if you go check. Canada Post says the flag was actually always intended as a way to let the carrier know there was outgoing mail, not that it had been delivered.
The postman comes, puts the mail inside, closes the door, and brings this up.
For many, that's the way it's been in rural areas for years. Not anymore.
Whether it's to save time or money, I'm not sure, but it's not doing the workers nor the corporation any good.
David Carrier received a letter from Canada Post indicating delivery agents would no longer raise the flag on mailboxes when mail is delivered.
And it seems a little bit odd that given it a time when Canada Post is struggling to survive and wanting large raises and wanting to gain more of the market share, that they're going to offer less service and less convenience to the public when they deliver their mail.
A resident in Somerstown near Cornwall received this handwritten note from a carrier saying they were no longer allowed to raise the flag. So sorry, please check box regularly.
In a letter to rural customers, Canada Post said after a review, it was determined that the purpose of the signal device was for the customer to indicate to the delivery agent that there was outgoing mail.
Canada Post writes in a statement that the flag is not meant to inform customers mail is in the mailbox. It acknowledged some do it as a courtesy, but that it is not a national delivery process. For Carrier, it doesn't make sense.
I've spent my whole life living rurally, and I don't know of very many people who put mail outgoing and use that indicator. But a lot of people here have a half-a-mile laneway, and they look out, they don't see a flag, they don't go out. If they see the flag, they go out. So a lot of these people are older, and it takes some effort to go out and get that mail.
This comes after unionized Canada Post workers rejected the latest in what was said to be Canada Post's final offer. So what's next is still unclear. Stefan?
Have to wait and see. CTV's Katie Griffin reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Katie. We have extended coverage of Canada Post's decision to no longer raise the flag on rural mailboxes. Just go to our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca, for more. Ontario Provincial Police are hoping to pump the brakes on an alarming trend in the capital. Drivers hitting the road without insurance. Officers have already handed out hundreds of tickets in Ottawa this year and warned things are trending in the wrong direction. CTV's Austin.
Yeah, Stefan, police say nearly 700 drivers since the start of 2024 have been handed a costly reminder to drive with insurance, and that reminder comes in the form of at least $5,000 ticket. 336 of those charges have been handed out in the first 8 months of this year alone, and an OPP spokesperson tells us a lot of drivers are blaming the high cost of living for their decision to forego auto insurance. But again, the fine is at least $5,000, and it's easy for police to catch them, especially with new technology monitoring streets right across the city.
I would tell them that their odds are not in their favor anymore, especially with the ALPR cameras. Our ALPR cameras will pick up their license plates. The license plates will show as being expired. Everybody seems to think that their license plate will automatically renew on their birth date, but it won't if you don't have proper insurance. And that's easily confirmed on the Ministry of Transportation's website.
Just yesterday, a driver was actually stopped twice on Highway 417 for not having insurance. Once was in the morning and then again at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In that case, the driver was fined $10,000 and they're also facing a total of 10 charges. At the end of the day, the message from police is simple. If you can't afford insurance for your vehicle, you simply can't afford to own a car and drive. Stefan.
CTV's Austin Lee reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Austin. They are called do-it-yourself or DIY skate parks, unsanctioned areas set up for skateboarders without any involvement or permission from the city. One has popped up in Ottawa's center town, and while it's already proving popular, there are questions about its future. It's located at Bronson and Slater, just south of where the new library is being built. It was set up in May, and so far the city has not taken it down. CTV's Caitlin Wilson joins us live with more on this. Caitlin.
Stefan, the park wasn't planned, funded, or built by the city, but it's part of a larger movement of DIY skate parks built by the community, which skaters are hoping can stay.
I've gotten to travel across New England and through Austria skateboarding DIY parks, and nothing like this.
Jordan Wells knows what a skate park should look like, but this one is different.
It's very much like a part of skateboard culture in the sense of it is a DIY effort. Really is kind of like putting graffiti on the wall, making an art piece in that kind of way.
Tucked away at the corner of Bronson Avenue and Slater Street, a group of skateboarders have built something from nothing, transforming a stretch of unused road into a do-it-yourself skate park.
A lot of this stuff you won't find at your average skate park, aside from maybe the rail and the box and stuff.
But there's a catch. It's not officially sanctioned, meaning the city could remove it at any time. In a statement, the city says it's aware of the improvised skate park and is determining next steps.
It's an interesting example of how a community group can reappropriate and repurpose public spaces in our city.
And it's not just Ottawa. DIY skate parks have been popping up across the world, something the Ottawa Skateboarding Association is recommending the city incorporate into its long-term planning.
Leaside in Vancouver is a great example where something started like this, and I believe they created a memorandum of understanding. Let's make it work.
For these skaters, it's about more than tricks and ramps. It's about community and creating something entirely their own. But whether this DIY skate park becomes a permanent fixture is still up to the city.
I hope that we can just kind of have a space to informally create. I hope to get a chance to play with more concrete.
The city also says it's planning to permanently close this section of road and work with the adjacent landowner to create a development opportunity. But it's unclear whether that means the skate park will stay. Stefan?
CTV's Caitlin Wilson reporting for us tonight. Thank you, Caitlin. Still ahead, the Canoe Club becoming the pride of Carleton Place. Returning with gold from Portugal, we catch up with the coach and the athletes who made the trip. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is 28 degrees out there right now, and let's have our first look at the forecast. Clear skies are what we're expecting tonight. There is a 60% chance we could see some rain tomorrow, and there's a risk of an afternoon thunderstorm as well. Friday, a mix of sun and cloud. As we take a look at the next 24 hours, 23 degrees is what we'll dip down to around 8 o'clock tonight. 7 in the morning once you wake up, getting ready for work, 18 degrees, and then a daytime high of 28 late in the afternoon. Again, be on the lookout for any changes in the forecast, but it sounds like tomorrow afternoon we could definitely some rainfall and a risk of a thunderstorm. New details tonight about a growing Salmonella outbreak linked to pistachio products sold in Canada. 52 people are sick. 9 of those are in hospital after eating various brands of pistachios and products that contain pistachios. Patients range in age from 2 to 89 years old. There is a recall in effect for the products in question, which were distributed in Ontario and Quebec under the brand names Habibi, Al Makhtar Food Center, and Dubai. A Smiths Falls woman is dead after a single vehicle crash near Merrickville. It happened just after 7 o'clock yesterday morning on County Road 43 near Bolton Road. Police say the car left the roadway and struck a tree. The 26-year-old driver was brought to hospital with life-threatening injuries where she later died. An Ajax man is facing charges for allegedly sending inappropriate content online to a teenage girl in Hawkesbury. Ontario Provincial Police launched a child luring investigation 2 weeks ago, and on July 30th, officers traveled to Ajax, executed a search warrant, and arrested the 28-year-old man. OPP are cracking down on drivers speeding through a construction zone on Highway 417. The speed limit is currently 80 kilometers per hour between Bronson Avenue and Kent Street. OPP say officers stopped a driver going 143 kilometers per hour this morning. They were charged with stunt driving, and the vehicle was impounded for 2 weeks. 2 drivers were also stopped for speeding in the same area yesterday. Nearly a dozen people are displaced after a large fire in the Bayard Market yesterday. It broke out at a house on Guise Avenue between Dalhousie Street and Perron Avenue just after 6:30 p.m. When firefighters arrived at the scene, they say thick smoke was billowing out of the roof. Flames were found at the back of the house on the 2nd floor and in the attic. Firefighters rescued 2 missing cats. Luckily, no one was injured. 8 adults and 3 children are now without their home. The cause is under investigation. The Prime Minister was back in Ottawa today strategizing next steps in the trade war with the U.S. Mark Carney meeting with his cabinet and virtually with the premiers. CTV's Mike LeCouture has the details.
Prime Minister Carney, which counter-tariffs?
The Prime Minister was tight-lipped a day after saying he'd consider removing some counter-tariffs on American goods if it would help Canadian industries. While saying he supports Mark Carney, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has a different take.
You can't have tariffs on one side and not the other. I still stand by what I say. Dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness.
He was planning to deliver that message this afternoon as the premiers held a virtual meeting with the Prime Minister. Once it ended, Ford's message to Canadians is to buckle up for a rough road ahead.
I'm praying that everything's going to go fine. But if it doesn't, I got to ask the people, do you trust President Trump? I don't.
In recent days, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe has called for Canada to remove or reduce counter-tariffs on all American goods. Some feel like the countrywide resolve is being tested.
As this has dragged on with no obvious resolution in sight, some of that determination is flagging a bit.
In an interview with CTV News on Tuesday, the U.S. ambassador to Canada cautioned that trade talks could be slow over the next weeks as U.S. President Donald Trump focuses on a deal with China. And that's why some trade experts believe Canada should refrain from retaliating.
I do think we have to hold something like a retaliation as a threat in case Trump does decide to hit us with something else.
And one example of that unpredictability, President Trump announced an additional 25% tariffs on goods from India because that country is importing Russian oil. India's tariff rate could rise to 50%. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turning now to a frightening situation south of the border. 5 soldiers are in hospital after shooting at an Army base in the state of Georgia. A U.S. Army sergeant allegedly opened fire at Fort Stewart, about an hour southwest of Savannah, just before 11 o'clock this morning, wounding 5 fellow soldiers with his personal handgun. The alleged gunman was arrested about half an hour later. The base is home to thousands of soldiers and family members. The Army is investigating and has identified the suspect.
We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Sergeant Radford has not previously deployed to combat. Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement, awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel.
Officials say all 5 soldiers who were shot are in stable condition and are expected to recover.
I was really excited about what had happened, but I was like, I just want another one, So I got another one. That was great.
Coming up, we introduce you to a teenager from Almont gaining international attention after her gold medal wins. That's right, plural wins at the Junior World Canoe Championships in Portugal. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is 28 degrees out there right now. and it is 6:14 on the clock. We'll be right back. Welcome back to CTV News at 6. Taking a live look at the roads right now. An earlier collision in the eastbound lanes of the Queensway at Woodruff that had closed the right lane is now cleared up, so things are flowing a little bit more smoothly in that direction. But of course, the ongoing construction on the major stretch of the Queensway after Nicholas is still slowing things down this hour, although traffic appears to be easing after 6 p.m. now. A 17-year-old girl from Almont is spearheading the future of the sport of canoeing for Canada. Isabel Lowry has just returned to the Ottawa Valley after claiming 3 gold medals at the Junior World Championships in Portugal. CTV's Dylan Dyson has details.
There's something in the water at the Carleton Place Canoe Club. Hang forward. Or rather, on the water. 17-year-old Isabel Lowry has just returned from the International Canoe Federation Junior World Sprint Championships with 3 gold medals.
I was really excited about what had happened, but I was like, I just want another one, you know? So I got another one. That was great.
And it's Canada golds for Canada.
Lowry led Canada to victory in the solo, pairs, and 4-person canoe events.
A 200 is a very quick race. So if you don't have a perfect stroke every stroke, then it's really hard to, you don't have a lot of time to gain it back.
Isabel, who strokes our boat, she's absolutely insane, and she brought us an incredible finish, and I was honestly in the back just trying to make us go straight, trying to stay in the boat.
It was like a very tight turnaround. It's not very common, but I was on the water or off the water for 5 minutes, maybe, not even. I finished my race. My coach told me, okay, good job, do another one. I was like, okay.
It's not just Lowry. 3 members of the Canoe Club impressed at the World Championships.
The athletes that we have are mostly almost entirely juniors, and they're a really close-knit group of friends that, when you have that kind of environment, that atmosphere, it makes it easier for them to show up to practice and do the work and have fun doing the work.
Lowry is now preparing for the upcoming Canada Games in Newfoundland and has her sights set on more gold medals down the line.
I want to take it one regatta at a time and not freak myself out too much, so just one step at a time, but I think the Olympics is the end goal for sure.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News, Carleton Place.
Congratulations to them again. What a feat. A beautiful August day in the capital after the wildfire smoke moved out of the region. Might be back a little later in the week, but we'll get to that in a moment. Skies much clearer than they have been over the past few days. Although it's still dry, there has been no rain in Ottawa for more than a week, but that could be changing soon. Let's have a closer look at that forecast. Our satellite radar picture shows pretty clear skies for today. Some clouds could be creeping into our region tonight, and it could bring some rain tomorrow. Right now, though, across the country, temperatures are looking like this. St. John's, Newfoundland, looking a little warmer than it did yesterday at this hour. 19 degrees and sunny there. Charlottetown sitting at 21. Halifax, a beautiful, comfortable 22 degrees. Much warmer as you head west towards our neck of the woods. 26 degrees currently in Ottawa, as well as Toronto, Windsor, much of the province walking on sunshine. Quebec City, 25 degrees right now. Sudbury is seeing some precipitation. And then as we continue west towards Winnipeg, they're also seeing some rainfall. 25 degrees there. It's 26 in Regina and 24 in Calgary. To the north, in Yellowknife, they're sitting at 17 degrees. Lots of sunshine there this hour. Vancouver, known for precipitation, 20 and rainy at this time. Tonight here in our region, we will be seeing a low of 15 degrees in Ottawa. Very similar conditions in the valley. A little cooler to the north of us in Kittigan-Zibi at 11 degrees, 16 in Cornwall and Kingston, as well as Trenton, 18 degrees in Brockville overnight. Bancroft sitting at 12 for an overnight low. Very similar conditions right across the board. As you can see, not a lot of cloud coverage. Montreal seeing some clouds, as well as Kempville, but Mont-Tremblant looking like it's having overnight skies that will be clear. 11 degrees, though, so a little cool if you're going to be out and about in that region. Taking a look at tomorrow's daytime highs, that's what you really have to start to prepare for. This week, it's been a slow climb to the daytime high. We've just inched towards it late in the afternoon, not seeing those daytime highs around lunchtime, but rather around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We are expecting a daytime high in the high 20s right across the region, 29 degrees here in Ottawa, and then a little cooler to the east of us and north of us in Mont-Tremblant with a high of 26, but between 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees, most of the municipalities in our region will see those daytime highs. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Center, celebrating more than 80 years in family business. Let's take a look at the next 7 days. Once we get through some rainfall tomorrow, and again, there is a risk that we'll see some afternoon thunderstorms, some thunder and lightning later in the afternoon. If that rainfall does come, that risk is there. A high of 30 degrees on Friday with a mix of sun and cloud. Very similar conditions for the next few days. The weekend looking very good, but also very hot at 31 and 32 degrees in consecutive order for Saturday and Sunday. Watch out for the humidity if you're going to be out and about. Lather on that sunscreen, and that will continue into the new week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday also above 30.
Being paid for your hours on the job, that I think is a no-brainer. I can't possibly understand why a company wouldn't do that.
Coming up, significant turbulence looms ahead for thousands of Air Canada passengers after flight attendants voted in favor of strike action. Stay with us.
Tonight, pushback over Aeroplan's travel loyalty program.
I think this change is very short-sighted.
Plus, what's delaying a new deal with Air Canada flight attendants and how summer vacation plans could change. Later on CTV National News.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, CTV Morning Live, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business. CTV News community and weather anchor Jackie Perez. Weeknights.
Welcome back, everyone. A strike could soon grind the country's largest airline to a halt in the middle of the summer travel season. Air Canada flight attendants voting overwhelmingly in favor of strike action, which could start as early as August 16th. CTV's Judy Trin takes a closer look at the issues which have festered for a decade.
Mike Abraham has booked a flight to Slovenia for a bike tour. He's scheduled to take off just as Air Canada's flight attendants are poised to strike.
Even if I was to actually try to rebook it now with either with Air Canada or with a competitor, say a European airline, the price would be at least 3 times as much.
Air Canada's 10-year contract with its 10,000 flight attendants is expiring. The union representing the workers says better wages and working conditions are needed. Flight attendants average 35 hours of unpaid work each month.
We're not paid anytime the aircraft is not in motion. So any of the pre-flight checks, mandatory safety briefings, all the required stuff that is done on the ground prior to pushback, as well as the deplaning process.
The workers are getting support from the Conservatives, urging the government to amend the labor code to ensure flight attendants are paid for every minute they're required to be at work from check-in to sign-off. Last year, Air Canada generated operating revenues of more than $22 billion. Thousands of passengers could be impacted if a deal is not reached by August 16th.
This will be a test for the Carney government to see whether they have the intestinal fortitude to let labor relations work its way through this process.
Even though Abraham has been planning his trip for months, he doesn't support government intervention, but does support fair wages for workers.
Being paid for your hours on the job, that I think is a no-brainer. I can't possibly understand why a company wouldn't do that.
In a previous statement, Air Canada said it was committed to reaching a fair and equitable contract with its flight attendants. Both sides returned to the bargaining table on Friday. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In tonight's Big Picture, a close call for the Seattle Kraken's mascot, the sea troll facing off with a charging bear.
While we were fishing, we had a pretty close call with a couple bears.
Boyd, the NHL team's official mascot, and their forward, John Hayden, were doing some fishing in Alaska when they went from predators to prey. The pair was shooting a promotional video as part of a trip promoting youth hockey when a grizzly bear approached them. They quickly decided the best course of action would be to return to shore along with the film crew. It's really something. Now, some other stories you need to know about right now. It appears Ottawa's tourism industry is finally bouncing back to pre-pandemic levels.
It was a huge weekend for sports in Ottawa, and that certainly contributes to one of, if not the best summer since 2019 in Ottawa.
Ottawa Tourism says the city is seeing a spike in visitors this summer thanks to several big events like the Ironman and the Canadian Track and Field Championships, which took place this past weekend. Domestic visits are also up as more Canadians take vacations within the country instead of going to the U.S. An outdoor water ban is now in effect in 2 eastern Ontario villages as the region's stretch of dry weather continues. The ban applies to all residential, commercial, and industrial properties in Winchester and Chesterville that are connected to the municipal water system. Residents in those areas cannot water their lawns or gardens or wash their cars or driveways. The township of North Dundas says the ban is necessary to ensure it can meet essential water needs such as drinking, sanitation, and firefighting. Also, a burn ban is back in effect for Ottawa. All open-air fires are now prohibited, including on properties that have an open-air fire permit. The ban applies to agricultural burns, brush pile burns, and campfires. Today marks the 10th straight day without rain in the nation's capital. The Kingston Health Sciences Centre is set to become the first hospital in Canada to use artificial intelligence to diagnose coronary artery disease on CT scans. The hospital was able to buy the technology thanks to a $100,000 donation. It will allow doctors to measure how blood flows through a patient's coronary arteries without using an invasive procedure. The AI heart imaging system will be fully operational later this month. Claire's, the accessory and cosmetics retailer, has filed for bankruptcy in the U.S. and says it will also seek creditor protection here in Canada. Claire's stores in North America will stay open during this process as the company says it will look for strategic alternatives. Claire's was founded in 1974 and has more than 2,700 stores across North America and Europe. A familiar face featured by one of the world's most popular video game franchises. Ottawa Senators captain Brady Tkachuk, alongside his brother Matthew and dad Keith, are on the cover of EA Sports Deluxe Edition of NHL 26. Matthew Tkachuk is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Florida Panthers, and father Keith is a former NHLer. The game comes out next month.
I think that, now they've raised the alarm. So I think, moving forward, people are going to be more vigilant in checking the products.
Just ahead, we speak with an Eastern Ontario doctor about the growing Salmonella outbreak linked to popular pistachio products sold here in Canada.
Ottawa News, weather, traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays.
Returning now to one of our top stories, the growing Salmonella outbreak linked to pistachios. Health Canada says more than 50 people are sick, 9 are in hospital after eating various brands of pistachios and products that contain pistachios, like the popular Dubai chocolate bars. The contaminated products were distributed in Ontario and Quebec under the brand names Habibi, Al Mukhtar Food Center, and Dubai. Joining us now to take a closer look at this is Dr. Paul Rumiliotis, the Medical Officer of Health and CEO of the Eastern Ontario Health Unit. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Paul.
No problem, Stefan. My pleasure.
What do you make of this outbreak? Do you expect that it will expand or we'll see more people come forward as being sick?
I think that, now they've raised the alarm. So I think, moving forward, people are going to be more vigilant in checking the products. But I can't see that
other cases won't arise, because apparently this has been going on for a couple of months now, Stefan. And so I think that there might be some more cases, but I think the bottom line is that, be wary about it now. Now that we know that it's out like that, you get rid of those pistachios, check them, go to the Health Canada website, and you'll see basically the product numbers. And so you can either throw them away or go back to your retailer where you bought them, but just be quite careful about that. And the other thing too, Stefan, is probably the number of 59 total is probably an underestimation, because this is people that got sick enough to go and get tested. And then it was tested positive for Salmonella. So I believe that there are probably more cases out there that did not go seek medical attention and were not tested. So that's what we're seeing now. But the bottom line is that now that we know that the information is out, please be aware about what you're eating in terms of those recalled products that you mentioned, Stefan.
And that being said, when we talk about Salmonella, we hear about cases of recall quite often. And you said these are people that would have been sick enough to go in and get tested. What are the symptoms that we're watching out for, or maybe some scenarios where it wouldn't present itself as severe and we may have overlooked it for what it is?
Well, Stefan, this is it's called an enteric bacteria. So it's really you eat it, you ingest it. You eat contaminated water or contaminated food or undercooked food, and that's how you get it, or food that's been contaminated, like the pistachios. And really, it causes gastroenteritis, so a gastro. So basically, it could range from, after a couple of days you've eaten it, your abdominal pain, cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, to severe diarrhea, severe vomiting, to the point where you're dehydrated and need to go to hospital for IV rehydration. So it's a really wide spectrum. And the other problem is that a few other, viruses that are circulating, the gastro bugs that are out there can mimic the same type of symptom. So the bottom line is that if you're experiencing these symptoms that don't go away, or you have a young child that's, continuing to vomit, continuing to have diarrhea, and is showing signs of dehydration, then you need to seek medical attention. Again, I want to stress that not every person that develops vomiting and gastro symptoms has Salmonella, but what we look for, regardless of the cause, is any sign of dehydration and not feeling well. Typically, Stefan, the younger a child is, or the older individual is, the more severe the infection would be.
And just quickly before I let you go, because you did mention ingestion, and I want to reassure the public in either direction of your response. So if Salmonella, there are some GI or gastrointestinal issues that can be contagious if you're near someone with it. Is that not the case with Salmonella?
Well, that's a good point. You are contagious, but really, if you don't wash your hands, let's say, and prepare food, and that person eats that food, it's not like contagious, like you have a flu and one person spreads it to another that way. It's really spread through what we call foodborne. So basically, I have Salmonella, for example. I don't wash my hands. I cook. I put my hand on food, and you eat that food or whatever else I've contaminated. That's how you get it. It's not the typical way of transmitting it. So again, that's why we tell people who do have Salmonella that they shouldn't prepare food for 2 weeks.
Understood. Dr. Paul Roumeliotis, we always appreciate your time. Take good care.
Thank you.
It absolutely benefits people who travel on the max fare class. So people who fly business everywhere are disproportionately benefiting from this program than people who travel, let's say, like a lower fare class.
Coming up, major changes are coming to one of Canada's most popular loyalty programs. We'll have more on what Aeroplan members need to know about when it comes to the new point system. Stay with us.
Ottawa is always on the move.
We're a big city
with a laid-back vibe,
where foodies love their sweets
and markets bursting with flavor,
wrapped up in waterways
and hot summer days.
This is a city where culture is on display.
And the future
meets the past,
where people come together.
Always proud,
often loud,
and positively the best place to live.
We move with you, Ottawa!
The Red Black Summer Rush is underway at the Infinity Convention Center. CTV Morning Live's Melissa Lamb emceeing the event, which is one of Ottawa's largest networking opportunities. Participants are getting a chance to meet some stars in Ottawa's business and professional world. The event is also raising funds for the Red Blacks Back to School initiative, which provides school supplies to children and families who may not be able to afford it. Air Canada's loyalty program, Aeroplan, is making some major changes. Starting in the new year, millions of members will earn points based on how much they spend instead of how far they fly. And as CTV's Pat Foran reports, the changes aren't going over well with all travelers.
Starting on January 1st, Aeroplan will overhaul the way its members earn points, and the biggest change means you'll earn based on how much you spend instead of how far you go. Phil McCulley is a frequent flyer and has been an Aeroplan member for the past 20 years. He's concerned business travelers buying more expensive tickets will see the greatest benefits.
But it absolutely benefits people who travel on the max fare class. So people who fly business everywhere are disproportionately benefiting from this program than people who travel, let's say, like a lower fare class.
The majority of our members are going to be better off than they were before.
Air Canada says the changes to the loyalty program will benefit those who engage with the airline and its partners the most. Starting in the new year, you'll earn 1 Aeroplan point per dollar spent. In 2 examples on Air Canada's website, it states if you book a flight between Toronto and Montreal with a base fare of $427, you'll earn 427 Aeroplan points. In another example, if you booked a round trip from Montreal to Paris and the base fare is $1,500, under the current plan you would receive almost 7,000 points, but under the new plan you'll receive 1,500 Aeroplan points. The more you pay, the more points you'll get.
It can't be seen as a positive, but it can't be seen as negative either. It really comes down to the individual, whether these changes are good for you or not.
Rewards Canada, a website that studies loyalty programs, says those who pay more for expensive flights will achieve elite status faster and rack up more points than those who are searching for bargains.
The more you spend with the airline, the more you're going to be rewarded, whether it's elite status or with points earning as well.
The changes are also more in line with other airlines that have also moved to revenue-based models. Pat Foran, CTV News.
There are signs of optimism tonight that the province and Ontario doctors will soon be able to reach a new compensation deal. The health minister isn't sharing any details, but the Ontario Medical Association is hopeful it could improve access to family doctors in this province. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
We've been working on the deal for more than a year with the government to really ensure that every Ontarian has a family doctor.
OMA CEO Kimberly Moran says agreement has been reached on some key issues, particularly the heavy administrative workload carried by comprehensive family care practitioners.
It's grown dramatically in the last number of years, and that it wasn't compensated for properly. And so to understand what clinical administration is, it could be, for example, that a family doctor needs to refer you for knee surgery, but they want to make sure that they want to refer you to a surgeon that specializes in the problem that you have.
Under the new agreement called FHO+, doctors would be able to bill for tasks such as doing patients' charts, time spent reviewing test results, and filling out various forms. But will more money for doctors mean more doctors for the 2 million Ontario residents currently without primary care? Moran says of the 15,000 Ontario physicians trained in family medicine, only 9,000 currently work full-time in their specialty. The rest work in areas like emergency medicine.
The government is working on a number of initiatives that will help retain and attract family doctors.
Today, Health Minister Sylvia Jones refused to reveal any more details about the deal with the OMA.
What I will tell you is that we have seen some very positive movement in terms of working with the OMA and other partners to make sure that as we expand our primary care opportunities, the physicians are well respected and get appropriate compensation for that.
There's just a couple of remaining items that the arbitration board is going to decide on, and we're expecting to hear back from them in the fall.
Moran hopes the new deal will encourage more student doctors to choose family practice as their specialty. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Well, nothing says summer quite like ice cream, sticky fingers, smiling children, and at times, a melting mess. That's exactly what one young entrepreneur on Prince Edward Island is banking on when it comes to a sweet side business. CTV's Maria Saru reports.
When customers ring the bell at Scooper's Dairy Bar, the pint-sized entrepreneur behind the counter
Hi, how can I help you?
is sometimes a surprise.
They think that I'm way older.
Roya Cooper, just 11 years old, runs the shop. Some cash she had saved up helped start it. A small business loan covered the rest.
I thought ice cream was really cool. I loved eating it, and I wanted to start my own business.
It's not her first enterprise. When she was 6, she made French books out of Post-it notes.
She sold those bad boys for $5 a piece to tourists. She loves money. Always has.
Roya's parents operate several businesses, including the Brudenell riding stables right next door.
It's unreal.
Super proud.
And she's so good at doing everything.
Scooping can get sticky, and Roya's last employee threw in the towel.
Too much cleaning for her.
So for now, she works 7 days a week. Most of the time, customers leave happy.
I love the ice cream, and the chocolate, of course, is my favorite.
But Roya has learned you can't please everyone.
Some are like, this ice cream scoop isn't so big. You have to redo it.
Her latest creation is nacho ice cream, which comes with a big scoop, sauce, sprinkles, and waffle chips. But her favorite flavor is peanut butter fudge crunch. Roya says she wants to serve many more Sundays in the years to come. Her dream is that the business will grow with her. Maria Saru, CTV News, Brudenell, Prince Edward Island.
Coming up, Ontario tennis sensation Victoria Mboko looks to continue her incredible run in the National Bank Open, and tonight's semi-final game will bring you the latest a little later. And here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. The temperature currently 28 degrees. We'll be right back.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Sanaya Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, the #1 Ford EV dealer in Ontario.
Thursday on CTV Morning Live, we are answering some commonly asked questions when it comes to real estate. Taylor Bennett joins us from the Bennett Property Shop.
And we're checking out a new exhibit at the Ottawa Art Gallery. It's called Sight Not Seeing. We've got a special preview.
Wake up the right way with CTV Morning Live starting at 6 a.m.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Coming up on CTV, as soon as we're done, the news match game starts at 7, followed by MasterChef at 8. Then you can watch Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service at 9. And an episode of Battle of the Generations starts at 10. Here's a recap of the top stories we're following right now.
Canada Post is struggling to survive and wanting large raises and wanting to gain more of the market share, but they're going to offer less service.
Some residents in rural Ontario speaking out after they were told the flag on their mailbox will no longer be raised by carriers.
Our ALPR cameras will pick up their license plates. The license plates will show as being expired.
Ontario Provincial Police sounding the alarm about a rise in the number of drivers hitting the road without car insurance.
Lee side in Vancouver is a great example where something started like this, and the city and the community and the constituents were like, this is interesting. How do we make it work?
Plus, an unsanctioned skate park popping up in Centertown, and although it's popular with skateboarders, it's unclear if the city will allow it to stay. Now for a final check on the weather forecast. Here's how things will look when you wake up tomorrow morning. 18 degrees under mostly sunny skies, but that could rapidly change once we hit the afternoon. There's a 60% chance we'll see some showers in the afternoon. There's also a risk of an afternoon thunderstorm, so be on the lookout for that. A high of 29 degrees. Friday, 30 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud, and the weekend is looking hot and humid right now. 31 on Saturday, 32 on Sunday, partly cloudy skies. Time now to check in to see what our news team will be working on tonight. Austin Lee's here.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. We have a couple of stories we're working on. One of them will show you some inventions and some innovations from some of the country's brightest college students, from robots to race cars to rockets, how students at Polytechnique Montréal are putting their hard work to the test at the school's annual summer camp. CTV's Jack Richardson, we know that guy.
Yeah, we sure do.
He'll have that story for us later tonight. Of course, you can get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvottawa.ca, and join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
All right, thank you, Austin. Finally for us tonight, Ontario's Victoria Mboko is looking to extend her remarkable wildcard run at the National Bank Open tonight. The 18-year-old from Burlington is currently playing 9th-seeded Elena Rapikina of Kazakhstan in the semifinal match in Montreal. She lost the first set, and the second is now underway. Mboko has defeated 5 higher-ranked opponents en route to the semis, including top seed Coco Gauff in the 4th round. She's the only Canadian left standing in the tournament. Whoever wins tonight will face either Naomi Osaka or Clara Towson in the final tomorrow.
And you love stories like this. Like, I feel like golf and tennis, you see these stories all the time. Someone kind of an underdog.
That's right.
She's playing with house money at this point. The whole country's rooting for her. So
yes, we are.
It's pretty exciting times.
Go Mboko, go.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
exactly.
you like that in
Hey,
tennis.
that rolls off the tongue,
But
too,
I'm
eh?
about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's catchy.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Austin has your 11:30 tonight.